Gold waking up from its slumber on Friday after being down about 30% from its summer high. Gold, big up move on Friday. Joined now by Peter Schiff, president of Euro Pacific Capital. And Peter, you're a long time and long-term bull on gold. Do you think we're seeing gold now reemerge from a bit of a slump, I would fair to say?
Yeah, look, I think gold is going to go a lot higher. I mean, today's move is pretty big, but I think we're going to have much bigger moves to come. I think we're going to have days where gold is up over $100 in a single day. What's going on is central banks around the world, particularly our central bank, they're creating massive amounts of inflation to try to combat the deflationary contraction underway, and by doing that, they're going to wipe out the value of money. Everybody is bringing interest rates down to nothing, and there's no reason to hold these currencies when you can hold gold. Gold is in short supply. It is not being created. But, I think beneath the surface, I've noticed in the past several months that even though gold has gone down in terms of dollars, it's actually been making record highs in terms of the Aussie dollar, the Canadian dollar, the South African rand. If you look at what gold's done versus other commodities like agriculture, like industrial metals,
it's
like
sort of
oil,
better than oil, yeah.
Gold has held up better than every asset class. If you look at gold relative stocks, when the year started, the Dow was worth 15 ounces of gold. Now it's not even worth 10. So gold is really holding up. But ultimately, when this phony dollar rally ends and the dollar really starts to come under some intense selling pressure, gold is just going to go ballistic.
Well, I do agree with you philosophically, and even just from an economics perspective. The Fed's printing money like crazy. You increase the supply of something, its value is going to go down. But why do you think we've had this 6-month or so period where the dollar has rallied, there are deflationary pressures, treasuries rally go through the roof, treasury yields have collapsed here?
Yeah, I mean, my explanation, of course, I didn't predict this. I mean, I was expecting the dollar would keep falling. But in hindsight, you can see what's going on. And I think what's happened is American financial institutions are in such terrible shape. There's such a call for liquidity that you're having this massive deleveraging process where U.S. financial institutions and investors are liquidating everything they have to raise cash, to pay off their debts, to redeem redemptions. It's like a giant margin call on the United States, and we're meeting it with whatever we have, including foreign currencies, foreign stocks, gold, and so that's temporarily suppressing these prices.
So this idea that gold's something liquid, I could sell it to meet the redemptions that I'm getting.
But in the meantime, the world is getting a great deal on all the stuff we're unloading at fire sale prices. And when we're finished doing that, I think these foreign assets, foreign currencies, precious metals are going to take off. And I think the smart money is taking advantage of a lot of strapped Americans and institutions here that are being forced to really get rid of their great investments for next to nothing.
So how are you positioned here, and what is your recommendation for the retail investor? Should they be buying the GLD? Should they be
they should be taking the other side of this trade. They should be loading up on the quality assets around the world that are being liquidated to fund all these margin calls and redemptions, and understand that you're looking at stocks around the world trading at 2 and 3 and 4 times earnings, offering 20 and 30% dividend yields. This is not real. This is never going to exist again. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. And even if you're sitting on U.S. stocks that are down 30 or 40 or 50% and you think it's too late to sell, it's not. You've got a great opportunity to sell these U.S. stocks that are still overpriced and going lower and take advantage of this temporary fire sale going on outside the United States.
So the S&P is trading now at about 10 times trailing 12-month earnings, which is not historically the cheapest it's ever been, but it's really low.
I'm looking at future earnings, which are going to all evaporate. Because the problem is, a lot of these companies were selling products to Americans who are now too broke to afford them. So I think their earnings are going to disappear, especially for the companies that focus on the domestic economy, like the financial services, like the home builders, like the retailers. A lot of these companies are going to suffer. But more than that, a lot of U.S. companies have a lot of debt. And I think ultimately interest rates are going to rise rather sharply for corporations as a result of what the Fed is doing, and you have higher interest payments, you have less revenue, and another thing is pensions. A lot of big companies with this huge decline in the market, their pensions are way underfunded.
They're lobbying Congress to allow them to stop putting into the pensions.
But whatever earnings they have, they're going to go to the pensions. They're going to go to their interest payments. They're not going to have anything left over for dividends. So this is a big bear market in the U.S. that's going on for another 5 or 10 years, but there is an opportunity to take advantage of the bull markets that are really going on outside the United States. There's been a huge correction, but I think this is a correction in a bull market not a bear market like we're having here.
Can you give me specific either names or countries where you think the greatest
Well,
opportunities
I think the best opportunities now are in the Asian countries. Look at Singapore, look at Hong Kong. I mean, these stocks are trading at valuations that were lower than the depths of an Asian economic crisis in 1997. I think that commodity countries like Australia, I mean, commodity prices have been sold down. They're not going to stay down. This is a great opportunity. Some of these stocks are trading at lower prices than they were 10 years ago, before the whole commodity bull market began. So they're great opportunities. In fact, I address these opportunities in a book that I have out now called The Little Book of Bull Moves and Bear Markets, where I'm telling people what they can do to survive this bear market and how they can prosper by pursuing alternative strategies.
All right, Peter, thanks very much.